Hey guys, it's Shawn. Welcome. I want to talk about preparing a business for inflation today. Despite all the people running around saying there's nothing we can do and inflation's here and just sit down and ride it out, I believe there are indeed tangible, concrete steps that we as business owners and leaders can do to prepare our businesses for inflation. Or, to say more correctly, to prepare our businesses for a continuation and potential growth of inflation. Yes, inflation's here. Yes, we have to deal with it. Yes, it's hitting the market. But there are certain things we can do as business owners to recognize that and to say that we are indeed in an inflationary environment and then lock ourselves into do decision making that will allow us to be somewhat proactive with inflation, right? There are definite tangible steps we can take to minimize our risk, to lower our risk profile, and also maybe adjust our business model to be more inflation resistant, right? We don't just have to sit here and take it. We actually have an opportunity as business owners to see what is coming from the market, anticipate what is coming, and make refinements to our business model. As always, not legal advice or investment advice. Consult your advisors for those. We're just here to give you ideas and to help you move along and be a better business owner by understanding what's going on in the marketplace. We got to start with the reality. Inflation is here, and it's been real for a while, and it appears that the fundamentals of inflation are going to potentially continue. There are still significant issues with the supply chain. Energy prices are up. Many expect that energy prices will continue to increase. The U.S. is selling its strategic reserve into the marketplace. So the oil prices that you see are actually lower than what market forces might demand because there is U.S. oil coming into the market every day. So we can anticipate in the long term that U.S. will not be able to keep up with its strategic petroleum reserves sales. Other world countries may not be able to do the same as well. So that at some point, supply is going to need to be addressed. All of that to say, all of that a long way of saying that energy prices probably are going to continue to go up over the middle to long term, right? Because these kind of artificial price tools are not going to last forever. And people are now in an inflation mindset. So that will be self-fulfilling to some extent. Prices will continue to go up just because they are going up. And there's a lot of talk that a lot of people in the middle of this market have been squeezed. The big companies have, to some extent, tried not to pass on prices to consumers, and they've been squeezing their suppliers in the middle. And those suppliers in the middle have been, paying some cost increases for their raw materials and other things, but not passing those costs on. So inflation is here, and it's here to stay. So we've got to recognize this reality. And best guess is inflation is probably going to continue to grow, and many people believe it's going to exceed what the government is projecting here in the intermediate term. So inflation is real, and it is appropriate to be doing planning for it. This is just another thing that we as business owners and leaders need to manage. It is something that is manageable. It is not something that is completely out of our control. It's not something we can completely ignore. There are tools, and that's going to be really what we dive in a little bit deeper here in just a minute, is what are these tools that we need to manage this inflation? What can we be doing proactively? So rather than just being victims, rather than just being along for the ride, how can we manage inflation? One way is cash flow. And I'll go ahead and link up here a video that we recently did on cash flow. And that video talks about managing the cash in your business, why it's better to get money now than later. So that is a first consideration, right? Is how do we get money coming in faster and manage cash flow? So we want to, as a business in general, and this is generally in all times, collect our money faster and pay out our money slower, right? We want to maximize cash in, we want to minimize cash out, and we want to defer the cash out. Now more than ever, it's critical that we get cash in faster. There are many reasons why, and I went into those in that video I just mentioned a minute ago. Many reasons why we want to get cash in faster, but a big one is inflation. Because what's happening here for many businesses is while we're waiting for our money to come in from our customers, the price of everything we're buying is going up. So we're losing money on every business cycle. Customers pay. Finally, we go out and buy more materials, produce more goods, and then we send them out. By the time that next customer pays and we're ready to buy the next round of goods, the price of those goods has already gone up. We've lost because we waited for that customer money to come in. It's slowing our business down more than in usual cycles. So we need to get an eye on cash flow. It may be a good time to revisit our cash collection policies. Are we collecting on the times that we have in our invoices? Do we have a system of following up with our customers to make sure we get paid? And do we even want to go in and globally adjust our payment policies to make sure that we get paid faster? And we encourage our customers to do so. We also need to manage our expenses, right? So we have lots of expenses in a business. We can start converting some of our expenses from fixed to variable. And now this will be a little bit tricky in this environment we're in. We've had a long-term trend on the employment law side, and I welcome you to look at other lawyers' takes on this because, again, this is not legal advice, but there's lots of talk out there. There's been a long-term trend to move away from independent contractors to move people towards employees, and state authorities have been trying to get more and more people classified as being actual employees versus independent contractors. But using contract labor, using outside sources for your services and your production line may make sense in some cases now. You're usually going to pay a premium, particularly if you hire an outside services firm to bring you employees. But if you're seeing variability in your business, it may be a good idea that as employees leave and rotate out, that you would often rehire. If you see the uncertainty of inflation and the potential for the business cycle getting more pronounced, that you use contract labor, use people who are hired temporaries in there to fill that need. That means that you're not locking yourself into committing to keep paying an employee week in and week out and then having to do the tough thing of laying somebody off if the market turns down, right? There are ways to manage this. And again, talk to your employment law attorney about your exposure and risks in those situations. But it's certainly a business consideration to think about. Do I want to try to make my workforce more of a variable cost and less of a fixed cost? What other expenses can we manage right now? Bring those expenses down, make them smaller, so that we can be more focused on, creating profitability and having less risk. The less expenses we have, smaller office, right? A lot of people are working from home. If you find yourself in a situation where you're paying for unused office space, that's a great way to manage expenses, right? Downsize the office or sublet that space to somebody else so that you're lowering your risk profile. How about inventory? What other things can you lessen the risk profile on without damaging your overall customer experience? And it may also mean adjusting your business model, right? This is a bigger conversation. This is where you need to get your leadership team together. Do you want to focus differently? And so one of the things we've talked about here on the channel in the past, and we're willing to redouble down on, comment below if you want to hear more about it, but focusing on your core value added. And your core value added might be shifting as the market's shifting, right? People are looking for different things. Different goods, different services are in more demand or less demand. There are market opportunities caused by the shifts. Can you use the core competencies in your business to go into some different market segment that potentially is more profitable, more inflation resistant, and better utilizes your resources? This is a great time to shift. Everybody else is shifting, and there's going to be even more shifts coming with this market, right? And people are going to be looking for new solutions. Can you be part of that solution? What's happening in your industry, and how can you adjust your business model to fit that? Right? And so it may be a complete reevaluation of your business model. You may not even want to compete in the same markets you are. Maybe you want to move up market to go to more premium products where you have a little more market control, and maybe you can hold inventory better without worrying about it. Right? If you're in a commodity business, very low end products, that tends to be very inflation oriented, right? If you have your goods, if your inputs go up in value, now you are in a situation where you got to pass that cost along very quickly. Versus if you get yourself into more premium, refined, finished products higher in the market scale, those are less inflationary, right? Those are items where if things inflate, they'll inflate in value. You are adding so much value and so much transformation from the raw goods that you are disconnected from the mere cost of inputs. So think about becoming a higher value added reseller in your situation. Now, all of this is extremely personal, and it really depends on you, your business, and your style. But the idea is that their inflation is somewhat controllable. It's something that we can't stop, but we can control the impacts of it on our business. Would love to hear in the comments what you're doing to control inflation in your business and how you are preparing your business to deal with these market cycles. Go ahead and join us in the comments. I'll jump in there too. But tell me, what are you seeing with inflation? How bad is it? And have you thought about adjusting your business model in light of inflation to make your business potentially more profitable and less risky? We'd love to hear all about it in the comments. All right, folks, give us a like so other people can see this video, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying it so we can bring you more content in the near future. I'm Shawn. I'll see you soon.